on the move in 6 of the greatest cities of the world. And I'm on the trail of their top movers and shakers. They're not all cut from the same cloth.
In our globalized world, don't make the mistake of thinking everywhere's now the same. Each great city marches to its own tune. My background's diplomacy, cultivating networks.
As an ambassador, my job's to get to know some of the most powerful people in the world and find out what really makes them tick.
Crime, glamour, power, and influence. It'll all be there.
In these 6 cities, I'll grapple with the dark Machiavellian heart of politics. I'll witness up close the lives of the immensely rich. And I'll get into the minds of those who really rule the roost. This is a journey to uncover the networks of power.
New York is the most powerful and seductive symbol of the American dream. It has been a magnet for people seeking to better themselves ever since European settlers bought Manhattan for just $24. 400 years on, there are few cities in the world to match its power and influence.
It's terrific to be back in New York City. There's a real energy in the air. I'm sort of tingling almost from some vibrations of the Big Apple. I used to come here regularly when I was ambassador down in Washington just to get a shot of adrenaline. But that was 10 years ago, and things change here very rapidly. 10 years is a long, long time in the life of New York City.
This city has always known the value of its power networks. Who's up, who's down, who knows who, and how all that converts into money, which lies at the heart of every New York power nexus. So where better to start than Forbes magazine, a century-old institution world famous for ranking the rich and powerful. And if anyone knows where the power now lies in New York, it's managing editor Bruce Uppin.
So Christopher,
Hey, Bruce.
welcome to Forbes.
Thank you very much for having me.
Sure.
Are you a New Yorker?
Yes, I am, yes.
So how do you define yourself as a New Yorker, for example?
Impatient, aggressive, loving change, loving difference. I need to be shocked. I've seen it all. I'm proud of my jadedness.
If I'm looking for the top 10 rich and powerful in New York City.
Mike Bloomberg is the most powerful man in New York.
The number 1 in New York.
Yeah, and think about why. He's the mayor. He's also the 2nd richest man in New York. And he is a major philanthropist and has major opinions on everything. No smoking and no fried food, and you can't walk across the street. You know, there's no traffic jams. You can't come into the city unless you pay. So he's very active in all spheres. The city is made up of networks within networks within networks. No matter what room you're in, there's always a more powerful room to the side. And even there's another more powerful room, the inner sanctum.
What do I need to survive this experience?
When you're in New York, you have to stick your fingers into the sockets of power, money, wealth, action, media. It's all happening here.
Sockets of power? The question is, which to choose? Well, there is one that packs quite a charge, is quintessentially New York, and manages to cut across all the networks Bruce has talked about. Fashion. Forget London, Milan, or even Paris. New York style radiates global influence, and it boldly claims to be the fashion capital of the world. While I'm no fashionista, I have been given a special invitation to attend the biggest event in the calendar. Welcome to Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week at Lincoln Center. 8 days that bring in over $400 million. And it's all under the control of just one very influential woman. Meet Stephanie Winston-Wolkoff, Director of Fashion at Lincoln Center and one of the most powerful women in the industry. At 6'1", decked head to toe in black, I'm frankly feeling a little intimidated.
Stephanie,
Yes, hi, Sir Christopher, how are you?
I'm extremely well. Thanks for having me this afternoon.
Such a pleasure to have you here.
Well, I'm quite nervous even. I've never been to a fashion show before, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be seeing.
You know what? I've got lots to show you. Let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Stephanie is making a beeline straight towards the underground car park. And I thought I was on the VIP tour.
So what's behind this curtain?
Behind this curtain is Los Angeles, but like you've never seen it before. Now imagine, this is a garage.
This is a garage.
This is a garage.
So I might have parked my car coming to the opera or something.
Oh.
Confused? You're not the only one.
Well, here we're in a kind of redwood forest.
We're in a redwood forest,
It sounds like a jungle.
but we are in a jungle. As I said, this is, I mean, our world is a jungle, and everyone has that survival of the fittest.
So fashion is the law of the jungle.
Which at least helps explain all the fur. As I join the pack, devouring the latest collection from Juicy Couture, I'm still not sure how this works. But clearly Stephanie knows what she's doing. The protege of legendary Vogue editor Anna Wintour, she has deftly orchestrated the industry's rising status. It seems every jungle must have its Amazon queen.
Tell me what you think that you actually bring to this party.
I am able to play in everyone's sandbox. I am able to pick up and develop something amazing with Vogue. And then I can also do something with InStyle, Harper's Bazaar. You've got to electrify yourself. You have to engage with everyone in order to make the right decisions. I'm more of an ambassador to the industry. I'm Switzerland. And there's only one Switzerland in this industry.
But the fact of the matter is, however Swiss, quote unquote, you may be, if you take decision A instead of decision B or vice versa,
There are
it
always
has
implications.
could have a big commercial implication.
It could.
Behind Stephanie's effortless serenity, she's working night and day to stay at the top.
So you are one of the great power centers of the world, based here in New York City.
I wouldn't say one of, I'd say the.
And you are sitting on top of the heap.
I'm sitting on a very large heap.
And on that poetic note...
But before I go, Stephanie wants me to see menswear designer Marlon Goebel. She's such charming company, it's easy to forget that one word from her can make or break a career.
I suppose that every Marlon Goebel, there are how many who have wanted to be here today,
Yes.
and you've had to say no to? 25, 50?
Hundreds.
It gives you huge power.
I'm intrigued to see what's made the grade. I'm reliably informed that this collection is themed on a jewelry robbery. Not the quickest getaway I've ever seen. Even with the benefit of Stephanie's expert instruction, I still couldn't tell you if Marlon is the next big thing. But what she has given me is an insight into how not just this industry, but this city works. Behind its glamorous, free-spirited image, fashion here is not so different from diplomacy. Politics, patronage, and front are all needed in getting your way. That and a fearsome work ethic are prerequisites for power in any New York circle. In truth, they're the key ingredients to the city's outstanding success. I'm leaving Manhattan, America's commercial, financial, and cultural capital, for somewhere much closer to any town, USA. Jamaica is a neighborhood in the heart of Queens, the sprawling New York City borough Manhattanites only encounter on the way to the airport. Or sometimes on a Sunday.
I got the gospel in my spirit. Hallelujah. Sometimes it makes you run, sometimes it makes you jump. It's the gospel.
6,000 people come to the Greater Allen Cathedral every Sunday, and thousands more watch over the internet. Even after all those years I spent living in the States, I always make a point of reminding myself just how fundamental God is here.
I need Jesus. Now make it to me 20%.
Only 13% of New York State residents admit to being non-religious, and the city alone has the largest Jewish population outside Israel and more Catholics than Rome, which explains why New York's most ambitious public figures have graced these pews, all keen to be seen here.
Come and worship the Lord.
The truth is, this shared faith in a higher power underpins the very power dynamic of this city, with its earnestness, drive, unshakable self-confidence, all spilling into every part of secular life.
Truly wonderful service.
Thank you, sir.
Inspiring.
Thank you.
The handshake.
The
and a hug.
handshake. Powerful.
Thank you, sir.
Power of the gospel.
All right. Yeah, all right. You ready to go preach now?
I might do that. I feel so
God bless
inspired.
you.
What's your name? I'm Bernard.
I'm Christopher.
Christopher, God bless you.
God bless you too. It's a big community centre. I mean, it's not just church and worship.
You can get everything. You can get everything here.
Yeah, mayor comes here, doesn't he?
We've seen everybody except, we haven't seen Obama yet.
He's got to come.
But he's
though.
probably on his way.
I remember there used to be another Sunday ritual no self-respecting New Yorker could afford to miss. Weighing in at up to 6 pounds, Sunday's New York Times is a mighty tome. Self-important and sanctimonious, it set the agenda. But times have changed. It now has to struggle with the most competitive media market in the United States, against 200 newspapers, 350 magazines, cable channels, and the internet, stuffed with celebrity gossip and reality TV. But there is one titan from the golden age of television who has survived it all and is a close friend of mine. The undisputed queen of television news, who's been at the heart of every major story for the last 40 years. Barbara Walters is meeting me in her dressing room.
Okay, let's go because you're going to lose me.
Okay, all right, let's go.
I'm so late already, and it's my fault.
I need to navigate
Yeah.
the powerful.
You must do your homework. I am zealous about that. I am boring about that. You should certainly speak to our mayor. I think he is unique. He's in his 3rd term. He's a billionaire.
Besides the mayor, who matters in New York today?
Other than the politicians, who has real power in New York? You might want to meet one of the members of the Tisch family, because they are real estate people. Larry Tisch at one point owned CBS. They are a very successful businessmen, and they can give you a picture of the city that I can't give.
Barbara is surprisingly modest, but this is the woman who has interviewed every president since Nixon.
Would it be right to say there is nobody that would not pick up the phone if they heard that Barbara Walters was on the line?
You have no idea how many people do not pick up the phone. They don't want to do the interview. They don't want to do it with me.
But you have a pedigree of interviews which is peerless. And sometimes you've made history. Fidel Castro,
Those are interviews you can't do today.
Begin,
You just don't get the time. And
Anwar Sadat.
on the programs in which I work, we are not interested in most international leaders. We are not interested in your prime minister. We are not interested in Mrs. Merkel in Germany.
Are we more interested in reality TV shows today than foreign leaders 25 years ago?
Well, are we more interested in reality television now than we are interested in most anything else? You know, forget news. We have now the Real Housewives of New Jersey. We have the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We have the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And that's what we are showing all over the country.
Is this reality stuff just a passing phase, a burp? as it
No,
were?
no, I mean, everything today and anything today can be reality television.
My task is to track down New York's networks of power. And if Barbara Walters insists that media power now lies with reality television, then that's where I need to head next. Today, the city of George Gershwin, Andy Warhol, and Woody Allen is hooked on reality television and is exporting it worldwide. And the zenith of the genre would appear to be the Real Housewives of New York. This is the Countess Luann de Lesseps, a huge star who has made the most of her 15 minutes to become an author, jewelry designer, and even pop star. I've not hooked up with many reality TV stars before, but I learnt in my diplomatic career that flattery is usually a good mask.